Hello, everybody. This is Ming Chen,
Hi, I'm Mike Zapsik from AMC's Comic Book Men.
and you are watching AFK, the AFK show, our favorite show on the planet.
One of.
One of. So you're watching the right show. Keep watching, and keep watching.
And keep watching. And keep watching. Don't stop.
All right, guys, I want you guys to give a huge, big round of applause and a very large welcome to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle people, Kevin Eastman, Judith Hoag, Barry Gordon, Pam Clarke, Townsend Coleman, and Rob Paulson. Give it up.
Hello, San Antonio! Hey, y'all!
Oh, no, we got enough. It's all because of him.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's the
I
man.
might have created it, but these guys made us look really cool.
Yeah. Kevin Eastman, ladies and gentlemen.
You might have heard of a little drawing that he did about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Something with frogs.
You just threw this thing together, didn't you?
Yeah, no big deal.
Well, the people always ask what we were smoking or drinking at the time. And
Yeah. What were
It's
you
not-
smoking and drinking
no,
at the
we
time?
couldn't afford it.
And then it changed.
I guess that we were told that we're just basically gonna, since we have no moderator, we're just gonna open this up to questions, right? We're just gonna do a large Q&A, unless you had something, Kev, that you wanted to.
I have like a 30-minute spiel I like to do, just rattle on.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's
Like-
great. And he's got a
Franchise,
PowerPoint.
baby, you go ahead.
Kevin,
listen.
talk about me, please. Talk about your favorite turtle.
First, I just want to say that it's the 30th anniversary of the Turtles. 30 years we've been doing this. And the first thing I like to point out is it's all your fault.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you,
awesome.
Thank you. No, I can't believe it's like, we've done about 20 shows this year, my wife and I, and it's like, the reception is overwhelming, heartwarming. I feel honored, I feel blessed, I feel unworthy. But you guys are the best, and I really appreciate all the support and all the love you've given us over the years, and it's been an absolute joy to have worked on so many awesome Turtle projects, especially with so many talented people that help bring their characters to life. And I mean, I still remember when we were working on the first 5 cartoon episodes, which we were just talking about, and it's like, well, what do they sound like? We never, we had voices in our head of what they'd sound like, and then these guys made the magic happen. And it's like, once we heard the voices, we were like, this is what the Turtles sound like, Cowabunga, dude. And
I need to hear a little of that.
Ah.
Do you think we need to hear a little of that? I don't know.
Raphael here. Shredder, you tin-faced geek, get back here and taste cold turtle steel.
Dudes, I gotta tell you that my favorite pizza is anchovy and hot fudge. Bodacious.
And as the leader of the group, I think at least 4 times in every episode I would say, we got to think of something fast.
All the time.
Yeah, lay off, Leo.
Do you want to start?
I don't have a catchphrase.
That
Never did. I'm just tinkering around in in the lab.
Doing
That's,
machines.
That's my job, and that's what I do. And then these guys, you know, are great. And also, I don't have a voice. It's just my voice. So, so that's it.
Kevin, this is right in the front row is exactly what we're talking about. Madam, would you please look at this?
Oh, nice.
This is great. Bring him up here. This beautiful woman, right? Oh, God bless her.
She had nothing to do with it.
Oh, look at that.
Now
Daddy's dying.
that right there is what we call a micro dude.
No babies were injured in the making of this panel.
How great is that? That's exactly.
He's so adorable.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Oh my
This
God.
is how generational.
That's precisely what we were talking about at
Yeah.
lunch, is what Kevin and Peter created is so unique and so unusual that's like another generation removed. I mean, it's astonishing what you did, man.
It's the 17th generation of turtle fans. I remember in '06 when we started this whole thing.
It was 1784 when we created this monstrosity.
So Kevin, I've got to ask the question because I haven't really sat down and asked you this question. How did you ever come up with this? How did you and Peter ever come up with this?
Let me adjust my Depends, and I'll tell you the story. No, it was, Peter and I grew up as absolutely huge fans of comic books. Our hero in comics storytelling was a guy named Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby, if you don't know, helped create most of the Marvel Universe. My favorite Jack Kirby comic was one called Commandy, and it was Commandy, the last boy on Earth. And where I grew up in this small town in Maine, I really felt like I was the last boy on Earth because I read comic books, I was fat. I was just this huge geek, and that was my dream, was to be Jack Kirby. And when I met Peter Laird, we shared the same dream, and we literally started working together right away. And so we formed a studio called Mirage Studios, and it was a mirage because it was our living room in this small town of Dover, New Hampshire. And I used to say, Pete would watch the worst TV shows in the world. He'd watch T.J. Hooker and A-Team, and I felt it was my job to annoy him as much as possible while he was watching his favorite shows. So one night in November, I did this sketch, and I sort of thought to myself, imagine if Bruce Lee was an animal character. What's the dumbest animal you could imagine? And a turtle came to mind right away. And so I did the sketch of Michelangelo was the first turtle ever drawn. And, and so I did this funny sketch of this turtle standing upright. He had nunchucks strapped to his arms, and he had a mask on, and I kind of put it on his desk, and I said, this is the next big thing, ha, ha, ha. Ha,
ha, ha.
And he loved it. Of course, we were laughing, and studio one-upmanship. He did a drawing and changed some things, improved some things. And so then I had to top his drawing, so I did this sketch with 4 turtles, each with different weapons, and I had this kind of comic book logo on the top that said Ninja Turtles, and I did it in pencil, and when he inked it in, he had a Teenage Mutant, and we were just like, oh man, this is the dumbest thing we've ever seen. And so we literally got up the next morning, and as I love to say, we didn't have any distracting paying work going on, and so we said, look, let's come up with an idea, let's come up with a story of how these characters got to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we're not going to send it out as to Marvel or DC, anything. This is ours. We love it. We're just going to publish it ourselves. So I got a $500 income tax return. We cleaned out all $200 of Pete's bank account, and I borrowed $1,000 from my uncle, and we had enough to print 3,000 comic books. And we were so sure, after we got them printed, and this was April of 1984, that we wouldn't sell one single copy, that we actually made furniture out of the boxes of books that came back from the printer. We made a coffee table and an end table and all that stuff. And then to our surprise and our parents' surprise, who thought we were going to be living the rest of our life in their basement. Well, he likes comic books, and he's a little weird. He lives in the basement, and, we throw down food every once in a while. Pizza.
Of course.
And so that was really the origin. And, it's funny, when we did the first comic book, it wasn't until we did actually the second issue of the Turtles, when we got the orders in from the distributors, We went from 3,000 comic books on book 1 to 15,000 comic books on book 2. And I remember Pete calling me and going, we got 15,000 comic books ordered. Do you know if we print 6 issues a year, we'll make about $2,000 each per issue. We can pay our rent, we can eat all the macaroni and cheese we want, we can draw comic books for a living. And that to me is always when the dream came true for both of us, is because we were now living the dream of our hero, Jack Kirby. We were actually drawing comic books for a living, and it was just, you know, I can remember out of so many fantastic things that have happened over these 30 years with the Turtles, that's still the moment that you guys gave me the greatest job ever, and 30 years later, I'm still drawing Turtles for a living, and it's fantastic. I want to segue into 2 things. One is to bring where these guys came in. When we started working on the first Turtle comic book came out in 1984, and we started working on the first animated series, and I think it was late 86, 87. Yeah. The first series came out in Christmas holiday break. We did 5 episodes, and, you know, working on the different colored bandanas, the personalities, working with the voice talents, and seeing all this thing to come together. And Pete and I were still absolutely positive, nobody's going to put this on the air. This is just, I can't believe it even sold as a comic book. Who's going to put this on the air? And it wasn't until we saw it in the TV guide that we're like, holy crikey, this thing's actually going to be on TV. And
that's as far as that was going to go.
That was that was it.
Yeah.
And
maybe TV, never movies. No.
And, you know, again, your fault. You ended up watching it, and we started doing. So it was like between Christmas and New Year's, the first episodes came out, and my other favorite early on story, before I want to talk about the movie because that was such a fantasy, was when the first toys came out in 1988. KB Toys was the big toy store chain at that time, and we heard the toys are shipped, and they were in stores, and so Pete and I drive from Northampton, Massachusetts down to Springfield, and we're walking to the toy store towards the action figure aisle, and just as we get there, there's this mom dragging this young boy out of the action figure aisle going, no, I'm not buying you one of those stupid Ninja Turtles. and we were like immediately like, oh my God, what have we done? So then the shows aired that fall, and it was a huge success. The animation was a huge success, and they immediately greenlit another shows. And I want each of you guys to tell some personal stories about that. But then when I met Judith, it was amazing because everybody said, well, we've done toys, comic books, the next thing is a movie. And we're like, this is going to be impossible. How do you actually, you can see how it worked from a comic book to animation and toys, but how are we going to make this as a live action movie? Well, enter in Steve Barron, first of all, who's the most awesome director in the world.
Yeah. Very cool.
He did, was it Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, Michael Jean's Billie Jean, video, I love that. Take on Me. And he brought in Todd Langdon to write the script, and then, okay, who's going to bring these characters to life, and enter the incredible Jim Henson and the Creature Shop.
Yeah,
and,
that was amazing.
It was just, and I still remember when we first met, it was, so it was like, okay, we've seen pictures, we've seen the sculptures, we've seen some of the tests. We went down to Wilmington, where they're shooting North Carolina. I remember going from the front office to the back lot, and it was like, you know, the back lot is all staging, and it looks like a construction site that's about ready to collapse. And it was a night shoot, and I turned the corner, and Pete and I, and there's New York City, lit up beautifully, wonderfully, spectacularly. We walk around this other corner, and there's all 4 turtles in full costume. Michelangelo's got a sombrero on. He's dancing, and they're doing stuff. And, you know, Judith's running around, Steve's running around. Everybody's lighting this and that, and there's foot ninjas. And it was the most mind-blowing thing you could ever imagine in your life. And, oh, beyond. It was like, you know, I still think about it, and it gives me goosebumps. But so let's talk to some of the animation guys about some of their early experiences, and then Judith can talk about, we were just talking about.
I have a question for Judith. Was that your first movie? Was that your first film?
No, it was my 3rd movie, but I was shooting a movie at the same time. And actually, I was cast in Ninja Turtles, and it didn't look like the 2 movies were going to work out.
Oh, no.
And then it ended up being, it worked out.
And you and Elias Koteas, right?
Yeah, Elias, yeah.
Talk about what
he's
careers
awesome.
you guys have had. I mean, did they ever pick some kick-ass actors?
I love this man.
Oh no, yeah, but
I do.
But, I mean,
I flat out.
You're continuing to work and a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
And Barry and I were just talking about Nashville, you know, and Elias. I was just watching Elias on The Killing that he
Yeah,
did?
yeah.
What an actor.
He's an amazing actor.
Oh, my God.
He's an amazing actor. He was a tremendous amount of fun to work with.
Yeah.
And at that time when his hair was long,
Yeah.
he was such a dead ringer for Robert De Niro.
He was.
He really did.
Yeah.
And there were moments where I would just think, you two need to do a movie together. But yeah, it was a pretty special experience.
No, that was, I remember the first time when I saw him when we was shooting the night scene in the park with Raphael, and he was so worried to meet me because he said, I'm not doing a good job, I don't see us. And I was literally, I thought, this is Robert De Niro's telling me he can't do a good Casey Jones. And I was like, dude, you're fantastic. Every sense of the word. And it was like,
yeah, he's a wonderful guy.
but I was telling Judith, she hasn't done very many comic book shows, and I've done a lot of them over these years. And
This is my first.
This is literally your first.
Really? Oh, my God. How flattering.
As of yesterday, I was a virgin.
But I always tell her that, so many fans discovered the Turtles from the original cartoon series, and over the years we've done many different versions of the Turtles, and when people ask me what my favorite version of the Turtles, favorite interpretation out of all of these worlds, and when I ask the fans the same question, most people say the first Turtle movie, because it married the original black and white comic books with the animated show so perfectly, and what's coming down the aisle? Don't look now.
Uh-oh.
We're being invaded. I think those are the Texas Turtles.
Oh, my gosh. These guys look a lot like some friends of ours.
We need to put you all
Look at
together.
that. Wow.
Wow.
Please welcome the Texas Turtles.
Oh, great.
Crazy.
We're going to have each of the voice actors do an arm wrestling thing.
Yeah. Well, it'll be kind of like shooting the movie, because when we shot the movie, we had actors who were in the suits, and then we had puppeteers who were off to the side. And so you would hear the voice of the puppeteer coming from over there, but there was also the voice of the actor. So sometimes it was a little bit confusing. And then when I saw the movie for the first time, there was totally different voices again. High three. Give me three.
Did you catch that? A turtle high 3.
High three.
Hey, Ralph was shaking.
Hey, Donnie.
Cool.
Yeah, bud.
Stand by your turtle.
That's right. I need Raphael right behind me.
Hi, Raphael here.
Michelangelo.
Yeah, come on.
Leo, here.
Mikey.
Oh, my God.
Mikey.
This is going to be a
I
Twitter.
love
This is going to blow
This
up
is
Twitter.
Crazy.
All right.
Picture of this.
This is crazy.
I think we might get a few
Look at
pictures out of
this.
this.
How cool is this? Hey, Rafi.
We'll just, Judith and I would just look badass in the middle.
Yeah.
Somebody send me a copy of this, okay?
Oh, no, we have to do it's the back.
7.
That's right, like that.
There you go.
Nice. Look at this. This is great. Wow.
Okay, Last Supper, guys.
That's right. There you go.
Oh my.
Here, we have to. Yeah, you're Jesus.
You're Jesus.
All this.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Jesus.
Right, it is. It's like
There's a
the last-
sequel.
You know what? This is a weird
All this with
This
no
is
chemical
amazing.
inducement.
Look at him. Look at we've got a little Ninja Turtle
Look
up
at
here.
this.
You look amazing.
Hey, buddy.
Oh, I love that.
Hi, pal.
You're what? This is Reed.
Hi, Reed. Awesome, Reed.
I think Reed, you're about 7, 8. He's 8. He's awesome and 8.
What's so great about this, we got Rob Paulson, who was Raphael, of course, on our original series, but also Donatello
On the new series.
on the new Nick series here. We got Donatello. There he is, Robbie.
And then Donatello in the back row.
By the face! Oh, this is so unbelievable. This is like a fever dream, isn't it?
Is this
It really
Twilight
is.
Zone?
You guys are truly
Well,
amazing.
can I just tell you, this is exceptional. So,
Yeah.
so the
Unbelievable.
bar is really
I started-
high for you now, honey.
Yeah, it only goes downhill from here.
Oh, shoot. So I guess we have to just travel in a pack.
Yeah.
Yes. This is so great. Oh my God, I just love you guys so much.
That's right.
Should we
We're just
ask
staying here.
questions?
We're not leaving.
Crazy.
I just want to bask in this. This is so happening. Look at this. This can't get any better.
So
Oh
wait,
my
do
God.
any of you guys who work at the conference, do you have a picture of this by any chance? Can we get some?
Oh, we have to do
Yeah,
some
we
of this.
definitely need a picture.
Yeah, the worst
of
Because
that.
I'm a real fan of the Turtles.
Look at the
What?
beautiful woman in the, yeah.
One of the last comic book shows I did, somebody, oh, do you come in?
Hey guys, I just have one request. Can you guys all together say cowabunga for us, please?
Ready?
Got it. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Wow.
We are not worthy.
Oh, goodbye, Turtles.
Oh, that's the Turtles.
Thanks,
They
guys.
can always drop by.
Present to you. Do, 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 do.
I wanted to see him wield those nunchucks.
Man.
He's like, look nasty.
You know, one of the last comic shows I did, a fan came up and asked me to do a sketch of the Turtles in the Last
Everybody
Supper.
give them a round of
Seriously,
applause.
I'm like, seriously?
It's so perfect, too.
You've got microphones set
I
up.
think if we let these guys loose, they would do it in no time.
Yes. God.
Anybody want to raise some hands and
Yeah,
take
actually,
some
I think
from
there's
the
a
floor?
microphone right there. If anybody you guys want to
Yeah,
line up
there's
for any
a mic.
questions or something, or
2 right up front.
because otherwise we're just going to make fun of each other.
Yeah,
and-
because they,
Yeah.
you've got
Okay,
microphones.
Okay, don't be shy.
Go on, ask a question you know you want to.
Yeah.
We'll take the mic to you.
Hey guys, I met all of you before except for you, Mr. Kevin Eastman. Thank you for coming out to Alamo City Comic Con. It's great to have
Thank you. No,
here.
thanks for having me out here. It's been absolutely fantastic.
It's really great to have you here. And I did not get a chance to meet the original Donatello. Thank you for coming out here. It's great to have you. And I don't know about everybody else here, but you guys were many of our childhoods. And I hope
thank
you
you.
know that we are very thankful to have had that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fad that we had. I don't think you guys expected it to be as crazy as we all thought it was going to be, but you know what? From the bottom of my heart, thank you, and God bless all
Well,
of you.
thank you. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.
And one last thing, Rob, it's good to have you back here again.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I tell you that when we were just in the green room talking before we came out here, and one of the things, the single most consistent comment that we all had between each other is how incredible the fans are. It's like, you guys are awesome, you're so nice, and you always have like
Incredible.
such precious moments in history, and the Turtles, like Rob was saying a minute ago, it's like it's become generational now that the old, the original fans have now
Have grandkids.
have mutants of their own. I adjust my depends again. They have grandkids. But no, thank you very much, you guys.
The original fans have kids. The original voice actors have grandkids.
Yeah, next question, please.
Hi.
We'll switch
Hi,
back
yes,
inside.
I wanted to ask Kevin.
Louder, please.
Speak up.
I wanted to ask Kevin what his thoughts were on the 2003 animated series, because that was really what introduced me to the Ninja Turtles and what made me fall in love with them. And it just seems like that's the least talked about or not really recognized iteration of the Turtles, even though it's probably a big reason why kids from the I was born in the 90s. That's the reason why we love the Turtles, and it just makes me sad that they're not really that particular animated series isn't really talked about all that much.
Well, what's been so great over the years is that, starting with the original series, black and white series, then we did the animation series, which changed some things, which then led into the movie series. And then, we did the live action. I know everybody loves Venus de Milo here. We did the live action series. But then it went into the sleeping sort of period for a while. And then Peter Laird really spearheaded and brought back the 2000 series. And that was very well received. It was, the audiences had grown up a little bit, it had a bit more edge to it, and the stories were a bit more sophisticated. I think it was much geared to a much older audience, but I love that series very much like the 2007 animated movie. I thought that the homage he did and stuff, it was great characters, and yet another version of the Turtles. And, it's just bizarre to even think that we're now talking about a new Nickelodeon series, and we just had the Michael Bay movie, and, the work I'm doing on the comic book series, so it's, I can't believe,
When is the Broadway show? The musical?
have to bring back. What was it?
What?
Turtles. What was the name of that show?
Come on the show. Come on the show.
I have anybody should know that stuff. So that'll be our. We'll all get together. We'll do the coming out of our shells tours.
Okay, green room after this, guys. We'll start
Awesome.
writing the show.
There you go. Let's do the Broadway show first.
Yes. Thanks
Actually,
for your
I
question.
think they've been on ice.
Thank you. Hi.
The hills are alive with the sound of turtles.
Hi, you have to excuse me because I'm like really short. I love you guys because my mom is like a huge Ninja Turtle fan, and she's like the one that got me all into it. And she really has like a portrait or like a wall of Ninja Turtles like from different artists. She really likes you guys. My question is, you guys, if you had a chance to go to a Comic Con, would you dress up as your own Ninja Turtle or as your own person?
Would you dress up as your own Ninja Turtle if you were going to go to a Comic Con?
Oh,
I dress up as My Little Pony.
Oh my
I
God,
dress
you'd
up
be
as My
so
Little
good.
Pony.
Yeah.
But we'll make Judith go as Casey Jones, and I'll go as April O'Neil. Really throw everybody for a loop.
I love that idea.
I was.
Trust me, you don't want to see me in. No.
I was actually in one
In
of
a
those
skirt.
walk-around characters years ago, and my son had a birthday party. I don't recall how I got it, but I got a Raphael real costume, and it smelled like a petri dish in there, man. I thought these cats are earning their money to be inside this thing for a few hours. So I've done that. I'm good.
It's done.
Yeah. I'm just happy to be the voice guy.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, sweetie. Thank you.
It is one of my favorite parts of Comic Con. Is I love people. I mean, I was talking to a young lady today, and she spent 5 months on the outfit that she made for the costume, and they're
Oh,
fantastic.
that's crazy. Yeah.
Hi.
Okay, hi there. My question, well, first off, just want to say, love the movies, love the cartoon. And you already sort of touched on my question. I was going to say, what did you think of the Coming Out of Their Shells tour? Because that's my guilty pleasure. I loved it as a kid. As an adult, I watched it. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrifying. But at the same time, I'm still singing the songs, and I remember all the lyrics. So what was you guys' experience of that?
Man, well, I remember when this time we had doing so many awesome, incredible things that were well received by the fans. When we had this proposal come in from these guys that wrote Broadway shows, and they wanted to do a Turtles live show, and we were just like, man, seriously? And we just didn't see how it could work. And they said, well, here's the story we want to do. And they started writing some of the songs, and some of the songs were, well, that's not bad. And it was, had a lesson, and, it was about family and a lot of the same inspirations that we had in the original series. And I just remember the first time I'd ever been to Radio City Music Hall in my life was to see the first showing.
Wow.
So I'm hearing him, pulling up in a limo in front of Radio City Music Hall to watch the Turtles live action show, and I'm like, I don't know, man. But it was great, and it was actually it toured for quite a long time, and the fans really dug it. I think they did a great job, and I remember the first night was just kind of freaky because they had the Turtles in the full costumes with the shells, and the actors kept passing out. So it was so hot under those lights, and so that's why you see the later versions, they put on like dungaree jackets on them and stuff, because it was just too.
That actually happened a lot during the movie.
Yeah, it was like
So, Kevin, we're all friends here.
Yep.
We're all just a bunch of friends.
Yeah, we're all pals. So
Is there
running around.
any iteration of the Turtles that you didn't like?
Oh, really? He's going to answer that?
Barry? Don't ask Kevin.
Thanks, Barry. That usually comes last. And then I duck the question and run out the back. No, honestly, there isn't, and I say that heartfelt and respectfully, because Peter and I worked on every single one of those versions, and much like when we went from the original black and white series to the cartoon series, we knew that we were going from an edgier concept that we wrote for ourselves to a version that was going to be directed towards a very young audience, 6, 7 years old. Like I said, Pete came up with the idea for the different colored bandanas. We changed the origin story. So each of the versions have a slightly different, variation on the theme, but we always try to keep, the family aspect and the personalities of the Turtles, true to the original vision we had. Even, a lot of people really don't like the live action series that we did, had Venus de Milo, but, that originally started with a script we wrote that had a 5th male turtle named Kirby, and that was going to be the 4th New Line movie that just never got off the ground, and then we took it over to Fox, and they turned it into a female at the last minute. But I worked very hard on that series, and I liked Venus. I mean, you remember Mona Lisa from the cartoon series?
Yeah,
sure. So no, I don't have a version, but my favorite version again is the Perfect Blend was the first live action movie. So
Were you involved in the Michael Bay film, Kevin?
Next question.
Were you involved in the Michael Bay film?
Say that again, please.
Were you involved in the Michael Bay film at all?
Yes, absolutely. No, I actually started working on the Michael Bay film about 3.5 years ago. We did multiple versions of the original script, and they were all, and much of what you read about, and Hollywood loves PR, even if it's bad PR. A lot of the original versions of the movie that we did were all based on a retelling of the original Turtles first movie. It's introducing the Turtles, kind of hitting the reset button, sort of introducing them like we did with the Nickelodeon show or even the original animated series. But there was always, Shredder and, foot soldiers and family and Michelangelo was the personalities were the same. We went back and forth for quite a while, even on the aspect of what the Turtles are going to look like, because originally it was going to be suits with CG enhancements, but we just couldn't get the same, directability of the scenes that were being written, because they were, today's movies are, I think the first Turtle movie was $7 or $8 million, and to get the same acting you wanted out of the CG characters, it was just impossible with guys in suits, because we were talking about it earlier. The original cast of the first Turtle movie were these incredibly talented martial artists from Hong Kong. They were wearing 80-pound suits and doing backflips consistently.
It was amazing.
It was mind-blowing.
Really amazing.
And, like the minute they would stop, they'd run over with a thing and put a...
They would do a lot of sort of resuscitating things.
Yes.
Because...
dumping water down.
Dumping water. I remember one time Michelin Sisti was doing a scene, and I don't think he stopped breathing, but I think he was about to stop breathing, and they ripped his head off, and that actually means something, because the heads that the Turtles wore in the film versus the stunt heads were filled with servos and machinery that was extremely expensive, and they had to rip his off, and he was fine, but there were many times where you'd sort of look, they'd open their mouths and you'd sort of look in and go, "Are you okay?
Are you in there?"
He was being
okay? Because you're getting
turtle boarded.
wobbly." Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Another question?
Yes. This question is directed more towards Mr. Eastman. I've always found that the movie version was by far the most solid or solidified version, because it really depicts these interesting sibling dynamics that I think a lot of people experience when they grow up around older brothers and younger brothers. How Raphael and Leonardo always butted heads, and one was extremely impulsive, one was focused. And then you have Donatello and Michelangelo always joking around on the side, kind of, cutting. I just thought those dynamics were very interesting. And where did those come from? Were those more organic, or did you intentionally kind of come up with that situation?
Well, that's a great question. It was like, again, the group dynamic, because to me it came from multiple places. I grew up a fan of comic books, and so, excuse me, like reading like the X-Men, the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, you always had a group dynamic. Everybody had a very strong and distinct personality, which made an interesting place to tell stories from. But at the same time, it's like the way I grew up too. It's like, my neighbor, I grew up in a very small town in Maine, and, the group of kids that I was, became my adoptive or surrogate family that would all pal around together. There was always the one that was kind of the leader type, and then the one that would tell the jokes at the right time or the wrong time, and someone that was a little bit more geeky, and that stuff. So it just, it seemed like very organic. We arrived at that place, that we wanted a great place to have strong personalities to tell really fun stories. But what I loved about them is that growing up, I always felt like a mutant and a misfit myself. It's like I read comic books and I drew all the time, and I wasn't like a lot of the other kids. And I think that's what a lot of fans sometimes find in the Turtles and themselves, is that relationship, and they can relate to it, and it makes them feel that they're not alone. And that's kind of cool. That it was accidental, but it was subliminal, I guess. And pretty cool that we arrived at that place and all you guys saw that. So it's
It was
pretty
amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You, sir.
How's it going? I just want to thank you guys all for being here. You guys are my heroes. Paul, you must be a superhero because I really wanted to go to the Animaniacs Symphony in Denver last night. So you were here yesterday, there, and then back here today. So
Magic.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about that earlier. I was talking to, I think it was Vern Troyer. I got to stop dropping names. Bob De Niro told me that. No, we were having, this is an incredible honor and very humbling to be asked to come in any circumstance like this. And plus, any opportunity I get to hang out with my original Turtle buddies, meet the original April O'Neil, shut up! and be with the guy that bought my house.
You should see us all at the hotel bar later. It's a run.
Yeah. No, this is a real joy, but thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, we did an Animaniacs live concert last night with the Denver Symphony, Colorado Symphony.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was really great.
Oh, my gosh.
We had 2 hours of great Animaniacs music with a giant screen and the cartoons playing, an 83-piece orchestra. So, yeah, I got
and
So
Robbie
call
got
your
to do it.
local orchestra and
it was fun.
Robbie got to do it
Book Robbie.
with Jess Harnell
But
and Tress
but thank you
McNeil.
for bringing that up. I really, I'm
no problem.
honored to be here. I would never, ever, ever have missed it unless I was dead.
A question
Okay.
for the whole group, though.
Okay, I'm
I
sorry. I
just
think we got.
Oh, what?
We got one last question. Okay, they're gonna kick us out of here. So.
Oh. Well, I was wondering, I just remember, when the theme song would come on after school, after I watched the show, I'd be bouncing around from sofa to sofa, and they're just some of my favorite episodes, and I was just wondering, for each of you, do you have a favorite episode that you call back and really just cherish?
Man, I would say and each of you guys answer it, and then let all the fans know where we're going to be after this. You guys are signing.
start at
so
the other end.
Start at Barry. Okay.
Favorite episode?
Favorite episode?
No.
All of them.
Donatello answer.
No, I love the first 5 because they tell the origin story, and that kind of was always the most fascinating part of it for me. I was just interested in where these guys came from, and the first 5 tell me that, and I think that would be my favorite.
I don't recall exactly which episode it was, but I really liked the episode with the neutrinos. I think it was.
He just stole mine. That was.
Did I really?
That's my favorite.
It was Tom Pinto and Tress McNeil, and Tress is like my baby sister, so I really liked that because they had these wild teenagers from Dimension X that were ripping all over the place. So it was whatever episode that was mine.
Yep, for me, I'm with Barry. It was the first 5 episodes, and we got a chance, the 4 of us, back in June to be in Florida and watch those first 5 episodes together, which was the first time that had ever happened for me. Not only together, but with an audience.
Wow.
And boy, what a trip that was. Back down memory lane. Huh? Yeah, I love that first day, because that was just the first 5-part mini-series. Didn't even know if we were going to go to series after that, and then we did.
My favorite would be, I think there was one where Leo said, "I'm not the leader. Y'all do it, I'm done. I'm just going to hang back and eat pizza, and da 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 da." And it was like, it's about frickin' time. The mantle of the turtles is too heavy for me.
It was the episode where he didn't have to say, "We've got to do something."
Well, I'm just going to take the very appropriate and honest way out. I'm going to say I really enjoyed all of them. I liked working on all of them, and they were fantastic. And so I think we're going to have to wrap up here. I'm literally going back to where I've been signing all day. And are you guys going back and you signing?
We're going back.
We're all going back, so you can come.
Come on back and
Just
say hi.
Real quick,
And if you I'm sorry.
I just want to say, Kevin, thank you for this.
Yeah.
You changed our lives
Yes.
Yeah,
by
you
bringing us
did.
on board.
Yes, you did.
You did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. And here's to Peter Laird.
Kevin
Everybody.
Eastman.
Turtles wouldn't be here without Peter Laird. So,
If you didn't get your question answered, we'll be back here tomorrow. So.
Yeah.
Or come to our tables and we'll chat up a storm.
thanks again, guys.